for hour 2. We appreciate y'all.
For those of you listening on the pod,
welcome in hour 2. Let's talk a little Zach Tom now and how it kind of this whole Elgton Jenkins conversation goes pretty much hand in hand with him. And let's just talk about, we already talked about he could potentially move to center, right? If this whole thing fell through, Emilio and Tim, if Elgton isn't on the roster next year, my go-to play will be get Zach Tom to center and find the best two, whether it's Jordan Morgan or Anthony Belton, whoever wins that job at right tackle, they're your right tackle and just move forward, right? I'd much rather have Zach Tom at right tackle, Elgton Jenkins at center, and you've got that depth we needed in the Philly game. But here is the situation with Zach Tom. Let's just talk market value real quick, all right? Brian Gutekunst hit a home run when he selected Zach Tom in the 4th round, 140th overall of the 2022 draft. Tom has done nothing but improve since day one, and now it's time to pay up. Below are Zach Tom's career PFF grades along with his market value breakdown according to SpotTrack. So let's talk about PFF here, guys. 2022, 68.3. When you guys hear me say if a rookie grades out in the 60s, I feel good about it, this is what I'm talking about. If they come out and they hold their own, they're grading in the 60s their rookie year, you're going to see them take a step and take another step. We've seen it time and time again, right? 2023 jumps to a 79.7 in last year and 85.8 PFF grade.
He can block.
6'4", 304 is what he's listed at. Some say he's actually 6'3", so he's a little bit smaller size, which would make him a little better fit for center, to be honest with you. But I will say this, man. I'm all about paying Zach Tom. Now, what's the market value, right? But I just want to ask you guys real quick, PFF grades, and again, it's not everything, but when you turn on the tape, this dude, he knows how to play offensive line. He's known since day one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, versatile, right? Could play anywhere in a pinch. But, the more we keep having this conversation about center, I feel for Jordan Love. And I would like to see him, get somebody consistent that he can build that rapport with. Favre had Frank Winters. Aaron had a couple of favorites throughout his career. If Jordan's going to be here for the long haul, it'd be nice to at least for the next 1 to 3 seasons here get some consistency and go try and run at a Lombardi here. But Zach Tom is one of those pieces that I think you got to prioritize here when it comes to the contract, because he's just simply the most valuable O-lineman that we have on this team. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, Emilio, he needs to be one of those 3 that we talked about, right? That if you're going to pay 3, he's got to be one of those.
I was just going to say, if you're going to pay 3, it's got to be Zach Tom. It's got to be Elton. And right now it's Banks. I think that we can get away from Banks quickly if we know who our next guy that we're going to pay is. If you get at the end of the year, and it might be Rashid. Hey, all right, we can't afford Rashid, but maybe we can get a comp pick out of him. The next guy in line we're ready to pay. Is it Morgan? Is it Belton? Somewhat, does Travis Glover fly up the ranks and get a spot? Hey, I don't know. But you have to pay those players that keep you going. I think it was the PFF pod or the Athletic pod. They were saying, they don't love Zach Tom they said they love Zach Tom as a blocker against everybody except like the best players. They said that, maybe he gets beat around the edge sometimes against the best, and that's where he kind of gets gets hung up. But for our sake, we need Zach Tom. We need him to hold down that side. Jordan feels comfortable because he knows, in his face, he doesn't have to worry about really anyone, collapsing that pocket. And, we should be more worried about his blind side.
Yeah. And it looks like everybody in the chat pretty much agrees. I don't see anybody saying, no, we shouldn't re-sign Zach Tom, right? So here is the calculated market value. And we'll talk about how we got to this number according to SpotTrack. Okay, 21.7 million average annual value. You guys remember what we talked about, right? Mm-hmm. The number, if you cut Elgton next year, is right around this exact number. It's just like he moves out, Zach Tom replaces him. You got the other young offensive linemen hopefully taking their rightful place, like Emilio was saying. Maybe they can step in for Sheed, or maybe Sheed's the guy you pay. Within 2 years, definitely 3, you can move on from Aaron Banks. You can just tell the writing's on the wall. Aaron Banks is going to be having the same conversation we've been talking about with Elgton Jenkins in 2 years, right? He's going to be looking up going, hey, can I get some more guaranteed money? Mm-hmm. And Goot might just move on. So 21.7 million. Here's how we got to that point. Comparable players, all right? We've selected the following players based on their age, contract status, and statistical production to compare Zach Tom to. Penei Sewell, 4 years, $112 million. All right. He was 23 years old when he signed. His average salary, $28 million. Jonah Williams, 2-year contract, worth $30 million, average salary of $15 million. He's 26 years old. Spencer Brown, 4 years, $72 million. Jawan Taylor, 4 years, $80 million. All right. So if you take all four of those closest comps, according to Spot Track, and you average that out, here are the averages. 4 years, $73.5 million with $20.2 million on average salary. And the age when signed was 25 years old. Now, let's talk about how that compares to Zach Tom. Okay, if you go to gameplay percentage, Penei Sewell has played 100% of the games. So is Jonah Williams. Spencer Brown's only played 93%. I say only sarcastically. That's pretty damn reliable, right? And then Jawan Taylor's played 100%. So that averages out at 98.4% of the snaps they've played, okay? When you break them all down from quarterback hurries allowed per game, they average out to 1.35 hurries per game allowed. Quarterback sacks allowed per game, they average out to a 0.33 sacks per game, giving them a rating of 66.15. Now let's go to Zach Tom. Zach Tom's gameplay percentage, 97%. That's going to net him minus 1.45 in percentage change, okay, compared to the average of the four comp players. Quarterback hurries allowed, his is 1.41, slightly higher than the average, which is going to drop the value down minus 4.44, okay? Then you go on to quarterback sacks allowed. He had 0.15. The percentage change is a positive 54.55%. So he's been damn good in sacks allowed in terms of that. And then his rating is going to be an 82.7 compared to the 66.15 of the other four players, netting him a positive game of 25.02. So when you look at the median prime percentage change for Zach Tom, it's 11.79%, an average prime percentage change of 18.42%. That's where you come up with the calculated market value for Zach Tom at 4 years, $86.7 million, or an average salary of $21.6. You can get that average down if you guarantee more money with signing bonus, or you can raise that number up if you come in with less guaranteed money. The player's going to want as much guaranteed money as possible. So I'm going to get your all's thoughts on that. I feel like that's a really, really fair comp. When anytime Penei Sewell is mentioned in the comp, I don't feel like he's getting lowballed at all. And the numbers are the freaking numbers. 21.6 million. I think that's a great average number, Tim, for Zach Tom, and I really do.
We had to start talking Penei Sewell as soon as the Lions fan got booted, huh?
Yeah, exactly. That's the way it works, man. I don't make the rules.
But no, I agree. I think it's a good comp. And pay the man his monies. Back up the Brinks truck, cut the check, do what you got to do. Pay it to him in gold bullion, whatever it is. Pay the man, keep him here.
Yeah, and Emilio Eldergrim says, I bet he gets $25 million a year. I would not doubt that. I could see that happening, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, because, I mean, a guy like that, you're going to want to keep him happy. You know, it's one of those in Madden, Clay, where you mess up the first time, and then you got to go, whoops, I got to give him a little bit more money to make him happy and stay. So
hope you didn't piss him off, too.
Yeah, and I mean, they're normal human beings, right? If you drag his name, if you don't treat him right, they're not going to be happy with it. I think we've been talking for a long time that Zach Tom needs the bag, and it's going to be over 20. It's going to be lower than 30, ideally. And then if we can get him for an extended period of time, all the better. But it's I think those are pretty fair comps for him.
Definitely. All right, and we already kind of talked about the cap space issue. All right, and moving along here, another offensive tackle due for a big payday is Rashawn Slater, $25.5 million average annual value. Bernhard Raymond, $20.6 million average annual value, and Colton Miller, $19.7. So when you look at the free agents coming up here, I mentioned this because it's a race, guys. The one who gets the deal done first probably going to pay. I don't want to say it'd be less overall, but it'd be less of the percentage you would have to pay. Meaning, you notice most of these guys weren't. I don't think any of those guys were on the comps because they're all up for a contract. As soon as let's say Rashawn Slater gets paid first, now Zach Tom's number just went up. That's right. What we dealt with Jordan Love, right? Yep. Jared Goff got paid before him. The number went up. If we just got the deal done a little sooner, you could have saved a little more money, right? It's like that credit card. Pay that sucker off. The longer you wait, It's just going to keep on compounding. That's the way it works. So on this list, you've got Rashawn Slater, you've got Zach Tom, Bernard Raymond, Colton Miller, Luke Godecki, Taylor Moulton, Braxton Jones, Rob Havenstein, Braden Smith, and Jack Conklin. So you got a flurry of guys that are looking to get paid here. Get it done, man.
Yeah, and a flurry of guys that may or may not get paid and maybe on the move, so you could see some shuffling. I hope Zach Tom's not one of them. I hope they get this done and get it done quick. I would think that would be the priority, right? We get that deal done. Now we figure out what we can do, with Big E, Rasheed Walker, and start kind of moving down the line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think that hopefully Goody doesn't let it fall to, hey, we were behind the 8 ball again on this. Let's just get him paid up. Let's get it squared away. But yeah, once Elton gets paid, then Zach Tom's going to want the money. It's just, I am happy though that he's spread it out. We're not 15% on the cap besides maybe Jordan, and everyone's all right taking the equal pay. We're not over here just throwing money around. You get 30, you get 30. We have to be conscientious of that.
Yeah, Daryl in the chat said Jordan Love had to wait a while. It's true. And Adam Block says sometimes the agent wants to wait, though. Yeah. I think so. It's like it's hurry up and wait, right, Adam? Like you want to get them to the negotiating table, wait out a couple deals, and then hammer it, right? That's kind of how it works. So
that being said, I think Zach Tom is weighted, though. I think it's time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen enough, man. I think he's worth $21 million per. And here's what's crazy is like that first year cap probably going to be somewhere in the $15 to $18 million cap hit range.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll probably raise to the 21 to 22, the way Goody typically does the contracts. And then by year 3, the majority of the guaranteed money's gone. And you got yourself in a position where you can restructure or potentially cut ties, which I don't see him wanting to cut ties with Zach Tom. I just don't. I think he's a hell of a football player.
No.
So, and when you look at the PFF grades here among some of the players we just mentioned, like Rashawn Slater at 90.9, right? Jordan Mailata for the Philadelphia Eagles was top graded tackle in the game last year at 95.2. Then you got Rashawn Slater at 90.9, Penei Sewell 89.6, Terran Armstead 89.4, Lane Johnson 88.9, and then you got our very own Zach Tom coming in the number 6 spot at 85.8. So,
edging out Trent Williams there. That's awesome. I mean, that's a who's who of O-line talent right there.
It really is, man. It really is. I remember Charles Cross the year he came out too. I remember putting a draft board together, and Charles Cross was one of my top tackles. That's blast from the past. Look at Clay Matthews' cousin still playing, Jake Matthews down there.
Yep.
79.8 with Atlanta. Feels like he's been in the league for 30 years too. So, all right, that's it. Anything else you guys want to add to the Zach Tom conversation here? What do you think?
No, we just got to open up the checkbook, get these boys paid so we can get them on the field. Seriously.
Yep. Completely agree. All right, so there's just a little Zach Tom fair market value breakdown.
Last thing, if we're a draft and develop team, shouldn't we be happy that we're paying them? You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. Because if we weren't, we'd be cutting these guys loose and letting them walk, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It'd be like the Giants. Let's draft McKinney. Let's let him get real good, and then when he turns 24, he's too old. 25, get him out of here.
Yep. And there is a portion of the fan base that when you cut a player, oh, man, we can't draft worth a crap. And then when you re-sign them, you overpaid. It's like, well, I don't know what you're expecting. Like you're not happy if they get cut. You're not happy if they get re-signed. That's